Yeah, guys, Talkback Radio here. It's the Merc. Wow, it's been a while. First of all, just letting guys know that the website's still up, still active, www.talkbackworld.net, where real fans roll. Guys are still up there. You know, I've been keeping tabs on what's been going on with the debates regarding movies, fan films, comics, cartoons, and so forth, which is exactly what we've been discussing for the past 7 years that Talkbacks existed. That being said, you know, it's the Christmas break, well, almost a Christmas break, and it's time to get back on track with things, get back in the debates and the talk about all things in fandom. I mean, there's actually so much that has gone on, you know, that there really isn't anywhere to begin. So I think this being the first show, and just to let everybody know, there will be a daily show now, 4 p.m. GMT UK time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 11 a.m. Eastern time US, where, you know, get on the Blog Talk radio network where Talkback is, and you'll be able to take part in these debates on everything to do with film fans and everything that concerns us. Latest thing that happened today, Spider-Man 2, amazing Spider-Man trailer came out, the full trailer with Electro and whatever. Now, guys, I was one of the guys who felt it was a little bit strange that there was a new trilogy being started within like 10 seconds of the old trilogy coming out. So personally, I really wasn't really engaged with this new situation from the get-go. So it's very difficult for me to comment on what I think of this trailer because, to be honest, I mean, I did see the first Amazing Spider-Man, but I was always looking at it from a sort of angle because the last movies, I think the last one, Spider-Man 3, of the Sam Raimi trilogy, only came out in like 2007 or something. So as far as I was concerned, like I wasn't even prepared to start watching a new trilogy anyway, because it's like it's not continuing on from the old one. It's simply rebooting the entire thing for no reason, as far as I'm concerned. Even though, admittedly, Part 3 wasn't good, and I don't think anybody liked that one. This new trailer came out, and I saw it. You know, as I'm sure most of you have already. And to be honest, I'm like, well, okay. You know, like, all right. Anything new, you know, anything different? I mean, it was very difficult for me to actually figure out exactly what the story is going to be. I mean, I'm making assumptions here that obviously we're going to get the Osborn's son, you know, because obviously we established the older one in the first one, that we're going to now get the Osborn's son, Hobgoblin, taking over from Green Goblin. I suppose, you know, like, it's just very difficult for me to discern because I'm seeing, like, obviously we see Oscorp in the trailer, so we see the older guy played by Cooper, and we're seeing the younger guy who I can't remember what his name was, but he was in that movie Chronicle or whatever it was. He was like the bad guy in that movie, and he's obviously going to be playing the nemesis, arch nemesis of Spider-Man. And I'm assuming, like, looking at it, when we go past the sort of wall of technology that he's got in his, like, that basement type thing in the trailer, you see the sort of tentacles of Dr. Octopus. And then I see something that looks like Rhino, I think. Like, I saw it, I'm like, is it a mechanical Rhino? So I saw that, and obviously we know Electro's already in it, that Jamie Foxx is playing. So it was hard for me because I'm trying to figure out that, wait a minute, I thought Electro was the main bad guy in this movie. Or is it that there are a bunch of them, and Electro's going to be the main guy, but there's going to be a whole bunch of other guys as well? So for me, it was really weird and very difficult for me to discern exactly what was going on, to try and figure out, you know, like, okay, is there a main guy, or are there side guys, or it was confusing. That being said, it's always a hard thing to talk about. It's like the whole tone of this is actually preferable to me than the tone of the original one. But the original one exists, so I don't see the point of this one existing because the original one exists. Because the original one wasn't crap enough for me to completely disregard the existence of the original, even though I didn't like the original trilogy at all. It's not, like, at least the first one, like I always said, like, the first one was okay. I was like, fine. I did not like part 2 at all, and part 3 was the less said about that, the better. But that being said, this one is like, yeah, it's preferable, but I'm just like, what's the point? So I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, look, is this a situation that we're going to cram in as many villains as possible? Is that what's supposed to be happening? Hold on, guys. I think I've got a caller in here. Let me see who's here. Yeah, knock.
Hey, what's up, man? Chosen One here. Long time.
Oh, yeah, good day. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Chosen One here, one of the veterans. Talkback here. Yeah, I'm just, catching up. Today's show was supposed to be discussing the overall situation of the movie sort of situation this year, and whether there have been any good movies that have come out this year, what people think about the whole overall health of the industry for fans of comic books and genre material, so to speak. That being said, before I actually got to do the show, Spiderman trailer came out, so I watched it, and obviously that's what guys are going to be talking about today because it's now all over the place. And obviously I had my views, which I was going into. Have you actually seen the trailer?
No, I haven't. I didn't know it was out yet. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's out. It's, we keep our finger on that button over here, It's...
I mean, can you give me the gist of what happened in the trailer? I mean,
so basically, in this trailer, it starts off... look, the overall gist of the trailer, from what I gleaned from it, is basically Spider-Man's back's against the wall now. Like, we obviously established him in part 1. So in part 2, the idea is that he's now concerned about, look, how long is it going to be? Like, the overall voiceover was basically, how long is it going to be before I'm going to start facing enemies that are stronger than me that I can't deal with? Basically. It's like escalation from the end of Batman Begins, stroke Dark Knight, when fully escalated and he had to do the blah, 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 that Commissioner Gordon was talking about on the building top at the end of part 1, Batman Begins. Basically, it's that concept, okay? And so the trailer of overall, which what I was saying earlier on in the show, is that you then start seeing a whole bunch of villains. So it's not, you see how we thought it was only Electro?
Yeah.
And I haven't actually been keeping tabs on this, so I haven't been reading up on all the tidbits, because I'm sure there are a lot of fans out there who are probably listening who've been following every little scrap of information. The murk is out of the game, Like, right. I retired at the end of, like, last summer after Avengers, because I was out. So I haven't actually been keeping tabs on pretty much what's going on the nitty-gritty. I know the overall surface stuff, but I don't really know the nitty-gritty. Now, what I thought I saw Rhino. I think I definitely saw a horn, like a mechanical horn thing. So it looks like it. Sorry, what?
Yeah, he's in there, right.
Okay, there you go. And this is the guy who hasn't even been keeping tabs. This is just from visuals that I saw. So I thought I saw Rhino in there. I obviously saw Electro, obviously because I already knew Electro was in it, and we saw the Comic-Con footage from the last Comic-Con, the clip. I obviously saw what I think is the beginnings of Hobgoblin. The beginnings, like, where you're just sort of establishing the animosity between him and Harry, and the father's role in getting Harry to dislike Peter Parker. So you're sort of beginning to see that sort of thing in the trailer. So I'm assuming that they're obviously establishing the groundwork for Hobgoblin. What else I see? So those are 3 villains, right?
Well, sorry to cut you off, but wow. So how many? Man, that's a lot.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. You could dedicate one movie to each of those things,
Yeah, but isn't
that's my thought.
I thought the Hobgoblin was someone other than Harry Osborn.
That's the thing, man. I always get confused. I really get confused about it because, to me, I'm like, okay, so Green Goblin was the first guy, right?
Right.
Wasn't it?
But who was it? But who's the first guy? Like who?
Okay. So who's the main guy? Who's the main guy in Oscorp? Who runs it? His father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's his father's name again? Norman Osborn, exactly. Okay, thank you. So in my recollection, and listen, man, I haven't read this stuff in a while, but to my recollection, okay, Norman Osborn was the first Goblin, right?
First Green Goblin, right?
Yeah, the Green Goblin, exactly. So the first Goblin, and then he gets messed up by Spider-Man, right? And then his son takes over and becomes the Hobgoblin.
No, I think
the Hobgoblin. This is where I get confused. I actually think my confusion was always the fact that I think there was a second Goblin who wasn't a Hobgoblin. You know what I mean? Like in between. Like his son took over from the Green Goblin and became another Green Goblin. And then the Hobgoblin is like somebody different.
Yeah,
that's the confusion for me.
No, I think that's right. No, I think that...
Okay, thank you. Because I always, man, when I was reading the comics, I was always confused. Because it's like, wait a second, is Hobgoblin a different guy? Oh, yeah, it is a different guy. So who the hell is Harry Osborn? And I'm thinking, no, Harry Osborn actually took over from his father, which is fair enough. Point in case is that the trailer was establishing this. Now, this is my feeling, okay? This sort of like goes to the heart of everything that I was going to talk about today in today's show. I had the pleasure, or displeasure, or however you want to call it. I basically sat and clocked Iron Man 3 and Wolverine back to back. Like, smacked both of them back to back. Listen, look, man, the shock I got when I finished Iron Man 3. Look, I didn't even finish it. Like, I did finish it, but the shock I got like 20 minutes in, I was like, hang on a second. This is like the Tony Stark Chronicles. It's the Tony Stark Diaries. Where the hell is Iron Man? That's what I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute. This is like a documentary about Tony Stark.
Oh, God.
Where the hell is Iron Man? It was amazing. Look, first of all, before I even get into this, Shane Black I like because the guy did Predator, okay? And Lethal Weapon. So Shane Black, I always give this guy respect because that film is like my top 3 favorite films of all time, Predator. Okay, so let's put that to one side. I give credit for the fact that Iron Man 3 was very different, right? Because that is why I wanted to bring it up, is that it was a very different kind of superhero movie compared to all the other ones, which I feel Spider-Man 2 is the same as.
Different how? Different how?
Different in the fact that it was actually very loose. Like the plot line, the plot was very loose. It was far more a character movie than a movie about big set pieces. Whether you like it or not, it was like actually more about the guy than it was about, okay, we're going to establish who the villain is, then we're going to have this big set piece at the beginning, then big this set, and this. It wasn't that way. So because it wasn't that way, it was actually a little bit more unpredictable than most movies I would see in that genre. Like, to be honest, if you watch that, when I was watching it, I really didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Like I would usually. Like I couldn't go into autopilot watching Iron Man 3 that I go into when I watch all these other ones. You just don't, because it was so weird. Like, by the time they did that stuff to Mandarin, which was scandalous. Like, I don't want to put spoilers here, guys, but if you have watched Iron Man 3, like, there were some scandalous things that went on in there. Like, what happened to Mandarin? Like, it was scandalous. I was like, oh, are you allowed to do this? Is this legal? You know? That's what I was thinking. I was like, are you even allowed to do this? That's sort of thing that guys get put in jail for. That being said, I was like, okay, look, fine. These guys have gone crazy. They're just doing crazy stuff. But it was different. And I think when I saw the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer today, I was like, man, this thing feels like every other movie, man. It's just the same thing. Escalation. Which is why I brought in Batman Begins versus Dark Knight. It's already been done. It's already happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost felt like the Harry Osborn character is sort of like a play on like Heath Ledger and Joker, where they're going to sort of become that kind of antagonist. Like this sort of, it just was very, very much like feeling, I've been here before. I already know exactly what the beats are going to be in this thing. We've seen Electro now. We know how Electro is probably, like, there's going to be some little detailed tweaks, but Electro is going to become Electro based on pretty much a similar tried and tested way of getting there. So when you look at it, I'm thinking, what are the surprises or what reason do I have to anticipate putting that picture on the screen for my face to watch it, or putting my hand in my pocket paying that cash? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I agree, but but I want to ask you: is the problem that this is something you have seen before, or how it's being delivered?
You see, that's a very, very good question, Jose. One, I like that question a whole lot. Now, the delivery is good. Okay, I told you that I was saying earlier on the show that Amazing Spider-Man 1, the delivery was good. Like, I'm not going to criticize the direction in which that went in, personally. There was a little bit too much CGI with the lizard and everything, but how are you really going to do the lizard in this day and age without CGI? I mean, you're going to need to use some CGI, so I gave a pass on that. But the problem I'm having is that, look, the delivery of something that you've seen 3 billion times can only go so far. It's like, how far are you going to take it? Like, when you've seen this thing, like, so many times, how far are you going to possibly take the delivery that's going to make it that much different from anything else that we've seen before? That's the real question. Because you have to understand that these days, right, there's only so many movies getting made now, like in the big budget range. Like, everything is costing like $150 to $200 million per picture. Yeah. Nobody's taking any chances. And people generally go to the cinema to watch these movies on autopilot. Like, there is no reason that Iron Man 3 made $500 million or something. Why? Or $1 billion? It made like $1 billion or something?
Yeah,
it made some crazy amount of money. So I saw this thing, and I'm thinking that what other reason could there be for that happening other than it's a machine? Like, these things just get made, and it's just a machine. Everybody goes and watches it. Everybody you talk to says, oh, you say, yeah, I saw Iron Man 3. It's just something everybody does. It's the only explanation. So when you know that, then you realize when you watch these trailers like Spider-Man 2, you're like, man, I can kind of see why this looks this way. Because nobody wants to rock the boat. Like, that's the way I see it, because I'm like, look, the delivery is fine. Like, the director's good, obviously. Well, the web guy or whatever. And you look at things and you're thinking to yourself that, well, there's no reason why this script couldn't have been completely different. Like, you could have done something completely radically different, and this guy would have executed it sufficiently, and you put something out into the marketplace that isn't like what you expect, you know?
You know who wrote the script?
Whoa, please. Was it Oki?
Yep.
Look, I told you I'm out of the game, man. I don't pay attention. Because, see, had I known the performance guys were involved in this thing, I would have probably not even watched the trailer. Like, I actually forgot. I think I remember some hazy memory of Oki and Kurtzman being involved in this movie, and I think I blacked it out. But you see, the thing is, there you go. That sort of proves what I'm saying. If the same guys are writing Spider-Man and writing Star Trek and writing Bayformers, do you think they might all be exactly the same? Or there might be some similarities? If the same guy's doing it? Do you think so? You know?
Well, let me ask you this. How far does public opinion get in decision-making in Hollywood? Because everywhere I turn, there are guys criticizing these two writers.
No. That's just flapping of lips, man. I'm hot air being blown. Because what really matters is the cash. And these guys are still making cash. The movies are still making a hell of a lot of money. Everything that they put out is making a lot of money. And that's all that matters. So it's like, if people can talk as much as they want to talk. I mean, look, guys flap their lips like crazy about the whole Ben Affleck big Batman thing. That didn't change anything. In fact, look at what's happened with the Wonder Woman casting. So it's like, nobody really, look, guys don't care. Guys are going to do what they're going to do, okay?
Yeah.
The same man made Watchmen. The same man made Superman, and the same man is doing Batman and Superman. The same director. Like, that, do you know that, for real, like, I'm going to tell you this for real, right?
Yeah.
Those things are career makers. Each one of those movies.
Yeah.
Like, each one of those movies are like, literally, each one of those movies could be could for a director could be the movie that defined their entire career. Like, it was just the career defining movie. like Superman the movie was for Richard Donner, or The Matrix was for the Wachowskis, or Batman Begins is for Chris Nolan, or Dark Knight, if you might say, or whatever. Like, it's just crazy to me that the same person actually has gotten all three of these things. But the point I'm making is that, look, man, if things are making the cash, then you can't really argue about it. Like, it's not a big deal. There's nothing you can say. Hence why I said I retired. I retired last year for that reason. I was like, look, my retirement has now caused me to now reevaluate a whole lot of things, right? Which is why, like I said, Talkback has to go in a new direction. Talkback can no longer be the beacon of trying to bring forth change. Talkback now has to comment on scenarios. Talkback has to be a platform for people to flap their lips about what they think about things they actually like, about things that they actually feel are constructive for the business of being a fan and the genre of movies and so forth. Because nothing's really going to change. Like in fact, I'm going to even do it right now. Let me see what pictures are coming out soon. Let me see what trailers are out here. Okay, so Amazing Spider-Man 2, Pompeii, 300 Rise of an Empire, which is basically exactly the same movie as 300 with a different guy directing it. What else have we got here coming out? I mean, that's it, man. I can't even really see anything else. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm like in a point that I'm like, look, man, I get where you're coming from, and you're probably sitting there thinking that, look, this doesn't even make any sense because there's enough guys ranting and raving about stuff that how come nothing is being affected? And the reason why nothing is being affected is because these movies are making $1 billion a piece. Do you know how sick that is? No, seriously. Do you know how ridiculous an amount of money $1 billion is? Seriously. It's actually incomprehensible. Like, you can't even comprehend it. Like, for one film to make $1 billion is incomprehensible. For a movie to cost $250 million is incomprehensible. So when you know those things, it's very easy to, it's like to understand the reason why things don't need to change for the business model because these things are actually being successful. That's what you can say. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it makes sense. It's just, I don't know. No, I think you're right about Talkback moving in another direction. That whole, it's kind of sad though because especially in there was a time in Talkback's history where the momentum was huge. You know what I mean? That, and I kid you not, I'd go to different sites and people would mention us, and it fell apart for whatever reason, but. Yeah, I think you're right.
What, Chosen? Let you know a little thing. Talkback, there's a lot of things in the cooking pot. Mm-hmm. And Talkback didn't really so much fall apart as things changed. Things got exposed, things changed. Real warriors got unveiled, and scoundrels got run out of the dungeons. Like, we didn't even keep them in the dungeons. We actually went to the dungeons where we were keeping them and told them that they got to get out. We didn't even want them in the dungeons. That's exactly what's happened to Talkback. I think it's been a sort of purging, flushing out so that you can actually move in a new direction. Because the truth is, like, I see what you're saying, but the problem about that era was it was just ranting. It really was. It was just like, because you actually had a belief that things were actually going to change. So you were saying everything. Everybody was talking because you actually thought that things would actually have an effect. Like there were actually fans out there that would mobilize and actually push something in a particular direction and so on and so forth. That is not the case. Times have also changed so far that guys can actually make their own movies now. You can make your own movies with your own little camera, put it online, sell it yourself or with your group of guys. That's the direction everything is going in. So if you don't refocus your mind and start looking at the industry in that way and start looking at fandom and games and comics and all of that stuff in that way, you're pretty much wasting your time because the disconnect between industry and fans is huge. Like, all you need to do is go to Comic-Con now. And Comic-Con is run by, like, conglomerates and like studios and like it's not even run by like the fans anymore, which is what it was. Comic-Con used to be the place where all the nerds who got laughed at in school could go and actually feel important and serious and taken seriously. That's what it was. It was a place where all the guys who would be getting laughed at in the real world could go there and actually feel like they were respected and taken seriously and talk to other like-minded fans. Nowadays, it's like you actually go to Comic-Con to pretty much do the same thing you're doing in real life, which is look up at a stage of people who you have no connection to and you'll never have a connection to. It's pretty much what you do. Like, do you know how crazy it is that you go to Comic-Con and there's like barriers where fans can't go, you know, and like fans like sort of like, oh, wait, the big guys are coming through with the cars and like the entourages and everything. Do you know how crazy that is? It's crazy. Like, seriously, you go to Comic-Con and like there's entourages of celebrities. Entourages in a fan, like, but you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, the mere fact it's gotten to that level means that you really, like, Talkback had to change. It's like fans themselves don't even know what they're doing. Like, the fact that fans really allowed that to happen to their own, like, convention for the sake of making some cash and exposure is, like, really shows that they don't even know what they're doing. Because what happens is that you then don't really have anywhere to go for the real talk. See what I'm saying? For the real talk. Like, Talkback became big because it was a place for the real fan to really talk, like we're doing now. This sort of conversation we're having is what is supposed to happen with fans. Like, this is the real deal. Where guys will come out and be like, look, man, this is what I think. This is the way these things should be. This is what I believe. This is what I grew up on. This is my thing. Because, you know me, like, my guys, Batman, 2000 AD, Superman, X-Men, not all the X-Men really, Wolverine particularly, Booster Gold, Firestorm, those are my guys, you know. And then I sort of touched on like some other comics that guys don't even really know. But those were my guys. Teen Titans as well were my guys. So the truth is, like, when I start seeing this stuff getting made, and let's not even talk about the cartoons like my guys He-Man and Thundercats, you know, for me, it's like, even though I'm an old guy now, those things actually really matter to me because I actually grew up on these things. Mask as well, you know. Terrorhawks, which one day they're probably going to make a movie out of. You know, these things actually matter. So it does sound weird, but the thing is, when you grow up on this stuff and then you don't really have those forums to really talk about the things that you really loved as a kid and you collected the toys. I mean, look, it's like Star Wars, man. Like, I don't even talk about Star Wars anymore, even though Star Wars was pretty much the most important thing when I was growing up was Star Wars, you know. I don't really even talk about it anymore because it almost feels like the whole thing has gotten so hijacked that you have no angle to get in there to really connect with it anymore because, like, it's just become a thing. Like you know, when we're saying, I talked to some Star Wars fans, right, and I was like, Star Wars fans, fellow Force.net folks, how do you feel about the idea of having a Star Wars movie come out every year? Alternating trilogy movies, and then in between, in the gap years, you have a standalone movie for particular characters and so forth. How do you feel? Now, let me tell you this, chosen one. Any real Star Wars fan will tell you they don't feel good about that. I'm telling you, it's fact. Any real guy, a proper Star Wars guy, is going to tell you that, look, man, hey, it's not for me. Just for the mere fact, like, there is a connoisseur quality to having to wait some years for your movie, following the trajectory, who's getting cast for it, the storyline, the screenwriter, the director, what direction they're going in. There's a connoisseurish quality to that, of even having to wait 10 years for a movie to come out, 7 years for the movie to come out, because that's what it is, you know. But the thing is, like, that is a very different mentality to the business mentality of, like, look, if these things are going to make $1 billion each, we want to make $10 billion in 10 years as opposed to $2 billion in 10 years. It's very simple. I mean, I know on a personal level with fan movies, like, there is diminishing returns because if you oversaturate with too much Star Wars, it's not really going to mean that much anymore.
Right.
That's what I think. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? That's my thought. It's like, look, if it gets oversaturated, it just really won't matter. You know, it's like, if you can watch a Star Wars movie every year, so what? You know what I mean?
Right. I get you, and I've said this before, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but you said something about making $10 billion in 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's with how many movies would you say?
That's if the concept is that we can release a movie every year and make $1 billion each time. Look at Hunger Games. They've basically done it 2 years in a row. This second one is going to make $1 billion. The last one almost did.
Right.
So
what I'm saying is, go ahead.
No, go on.
No,
I want to hear what.
It's like I guess you're going to compare it to the stock market, okay? Looking for that one specific stock to boom instead of diversifying. Putting a little bit in each stock, and then over even the same amount of time period, you can have that same return, if not more, from I guess different films, diversifying. Spreading that cash around. Now you say it's making. I don't know how much Hunger Games made, but how much did it cost to make? In comparison. You know what I mean?
That is true, but I mean, I think when you weigh it up, if you say you're going to spend $250 million to make your movie, and you can almost guarantee yourself you're going to make 800 to $1 billion back, you're going to make a lot of money back. I think this is the thing for me, right? And this is just the way I think about these things. It's like, if you do things this way, you just end up killing your own industry. You see what I'm saying? So that in the end, 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line, you will make a significantly lower amount of money overall than you would have made if you revitalized your industry and you kept producing quality material. Because Hollywood rode on the coattails or on the fumes of the golden age of the 70s for like 20 years. 25 years. Like, it's rode on the classics. It's still probably even right. Like, you could even argue that it's still on the fumes of the movies that were created from late 60s to early 80s. You could argue that. Because those films are still quoted today. Those films populate 70% of the top 100 lists of most critics and fans alike. Those films are getting copied left, right, and center and getting remade and rebooted and reimagined and so forth over and over again. Those films are the inspiration for a lot of... Breaking Bad was inspired by bloody Scarface, man. And Breaking Bad is like the greatest one of the best TV shows ever made. Breaking Bad wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Scarface. It's the same story, just obviously more detailed and with a longer arc and everything, but it's Scarface, which the guy, Vince Gilligan, actually said. So it's not even like a hypothesis. Like, a lot of the things you see now that even do well are based on fumes and energy that was generated in the golden age of Hollywood. So my argument is this, okay? This is the next point, okay? So chosen one, I just want to see what you think about this. This is the next point. You can only ride on those fumes for so long. If you don't aggressively pursue generating that quality within the industry, the repercussions of that is, first of all the talent and all the energy leaving the industry and good, which is what's happening with televisions. Like, look, man, everything's gone to TV now. That's why the TV shows are so amazingly good.
Right.
You're going to drive all the talent away. That's the first thing that's going to happen. And then all the fans are going to go. And then you're not going to be making any money. It's just the way it is. It's like it's literally like arithmetic. Like, everybody's going to leave. Not out of spite of being vindictive, just simply because you start following the quality, and the quality leaves, and all that you're left with is just a machine which just keeps creating the same cake every single time you go to the confectionery. You're going to get sick of eating the same cake, which is what's going to start happening. We're now at the apex of the sugar rush at the moment, where everybody's getting high off this cake that keeps getting put on the table. That's what's going on now. But sooner or later, people are going to get sick of that and are going to want to start eating pie. Or want to going to start eating sausage. Or want to going to start eating rice and beans. Or want to start eating jerk chicken. Or want to start eating... People are going to want to start eating different things. And when that happens and you've only got machines that make cakes, and the machines cannot be adapted at that stage because they are the most advanced high-tech cake-making machines, you can't turn them into machines that make ice cream or anything else. That's exact. Look, man, that was the craziest analogy that I don't even understand. But regardless, you basically get what I'm trying to say. That's the situation. So, from my point of view, it's like it behooves the fans who want to get it till it's too late to be like, hey guys, can we just have something different or more innovative, or like what Aronofsky's Wolverine might have been had it happened.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Because I saw that movie, and all I was thinking about when I was watching this movie is that, man, if Aronofsky had made this film, man, wow. Because, have you seen that guy's Noah trailer?
Yeah.
You watch that, like, this is a Bible story. Look at what this guy's doing with the Bible story. This thing looks crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, look, the guys are out there, man. The filmmakers are out there. The Finchers of the world are out there. I like Abrams. A lot of people have been talking about Abrams left, right, and center. You're going to see what Star Wars Abrams is going to make. Okay? People can talk what they want to talk. I like look, Abrams' Mission Impossible is the best Mission Impossible movie out of all of them. Hands down. That sequence on the bridge, and I want guys to go and watch that sequence on the bridge, the shootout on the bridge, is the craziest action sequence, one of the craziest action sequences I've seen in an action movie the last 10 years, without a doubt, just because of how well filmed, choreographed, and executed that scene was. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, whoever directed that knows what the hell he's doing. Abrams. So, from my point of view, I'm like, look, the guys are out there. The guys are out there. It's just a question of the opportunities, the desire, and the dynamic of things at play to actually create a year whereby we start getting quality material. When that's going to happen, who knows? Because I think things have gotten pushed into the stratosphere now of like the $250 million pictures that it's very difficult to see where any of these other things are going to come from.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I like the analogy you use, how they're going to get tired of movies and then the quality shifts to TV, and then all of a sudden then there's nothing left. But I don't think it happens in stages. It's like a migration. You're going to see most of the quality going to TV, and as it's going to TV, it's actually leaving, because I can see it on its way out right now as the quality's going from the movies to the TV. You know what I mean?
Right,
so I don't
right,
think
right.
I don't think it's one set transition, because I can see the quality going down now. So yeah, I think you're right there. But yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, look, this thing this is overtime now, so we should wrap this up. But just letting everybody know, website still up, www.talkbackworld.net, where real fans roam. Get on there, join the things. I'm back. Merc is back. Have hopes in the wilderness. Chosen One still there throwing chicken. Shout out to Wake Up, Maniacal, Forrest the Cat. All the guys who've been holding it down, while I've been away, fighting the good fights on the battlefront. I'm back,
For how long?
Show. Say what?
For how long are you back?
Oh, I'm going to be around, man. Don't worry about me. Sword and Shield is out. I'm here. So the daily radio show is back, 4 p.m. GMT, UK time, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So you can get on here. I'll be dealing with the daily events now, because, as the news comes up, we'll be talking the news, we'll be talking about issues and so forth. So, and also keep your eye on the YouTube page, because I'll be updating the YouTube page with excerpts of the radio show for those who would rather listen to it that way. Keep tuned. Oh, and another thing, this is what I wanted to do actually. You know the Google Hangouts,
Right.
There will be a Google Hangout scheduled for veterans. Chosen One, you're cordially invited to take part in a Google Hangout video in due course. So are you interested in taking part in one of those?
Yeah, I downloaded the software and I missed the first one that Have Hope held, but yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so we'll definitely try and get one of those running. Maybe even soon, maybe in the next couple of days. Just to warm it up. But yeah, Performance 4 is coming out, so I'm looking forward to that a lot. I mean, I can't wait.
Watch it be the best one.
Yeah, it's going to be so good, man. It's going to be so
no,
good.
I'm actually being serious. It'll probably be the best one out of the 4.
Wait a minute, what? Listen, those films...
it's still going to be bad.
Those films don't exist. They do not exist in my galaxy, man. They don't even exist. After part 1, which was the birth of Talkback, but Talkback was born out of Bayformance. Like, that's how it created, it spawned Talkback. Like, do you know how crazy a film has to be that it spawned a 7-year strong community? I mean, that thing was shocking. So, to me, it's like, look, I really will not be taking any part in that particular picture. I haven't been to see any of them in the cinema since part 1.
Mm.
None of them. I've seen none. None.
Okay.
So, that's all I got to say. Anyway, look, I'll be on the boards. Beat Spielberg again. Welcome back.